for celebration. Today is a day for celebration.
So hold on. I think you might want to repeat that a little bit, bro, because
People didn't hear us. Could you all hear us?
Please let us
Let
know.
us know if you all can hear us.
Yeah. Turn it a little bit.
This way?
Yeah, that good.
This is good. Okay. Yeah. So let us know if you could hear us.
Please and thanks.
Please and thanks. It will be really, really helpful. Right? And yeah, so everyone, welcome for this is the 25th episode.
Indeed it is.
How fitting. Of Legacy of the King. The podcast for growth, for development, for legacy. And well, it's actually tomorrow. But today we are celebrating 1 year
1 year
of Legacy of the King.
Yeah.
And when we started last year, I honestly this is a cliche sentence that I'm going to say, but it's very true. When we started, I didn't think we would have made it a year.
Boy, same here, yes.
Because of everything that has happened within that year. Things that we never thought would have happened last year.
Very much so.
And I didn't think that in spite of all of those things, despite all of those things, that we would be here today celebrating 1 year.
Yeah.
So that's why I think it's a cause for celebration.
Indeed.
It's a cause for thanks. Because if it wasn't for the people that support us, giving us feedback and letting us know what we could improve on and what we could do better and what we're doing good and all of those things, if it wasn't for that,
asking questions,
yeah, we would not have been here.
Correct.
So that is something we have to be grateful for. We have to thank God Almighty for that. We have to be so thankful.
Yes.
So
indeed. We've gone through so much, as you said, in that last year. So many unexpected things. So many things. Well, so many people that we've lost.
Yeah.
As well.
Yeah.
But hey, all of that comes with growth.
All of that comes with growth. Yeah. Yeah. All of it comes with growth.
And as you spoke about supporters, I see, yes, we have some comments here already that they can hear us.
Okay.
Right, so that's good.
Okay. Nice to see you, Uche.
Yes, and thank you for the birthday wishes as well.
Yeah, thanks so much.
And thanks to you as well for joining us for the celebration.
Mm-hmm. Very true. So, it wouldn't be a celebration without bubbly.
Of course.
So, you do the honors because it's you bring it.
I hope it's still bubbly.
Oh, God, boy.
Yes, Olia.
Mm-hmm.
Celebrating.
Yeah, carry it closer so they could see it. Yeah, let them see what it is. Let me show IG.
Show all people. Right.
So no. Nice to see Ashley on the live on IG.
Hi, Ashley. Yes, and also, guys, don't not a professional here, so
yeah, don't criticize Nick's slow opening of Moet. We don't do this often.
Yes, correct.
We don't be popping bottles on a regular basis.
Correct, right.
Hopefully, we actually hear the pop. This has been in the cupboard for a while.
If not, you might get drunk because it right?
Let's see. Oh, yes.
Nectar is what we're talking about. All you hear that? All you hear that?
All you hear the, all you hear the, all you hear the pop, you hear it.
Right. Bro. All right, let me put it in front so everybody could see. Only could see.
Don't put the glass in, put the other glass in front.
Yes, of course. Ah,
Look at the golden. I can't say golden showers. That's the bad. That's a bad.
yeah, please.
Yeah,
Please.
that's not the analogy we're using. Nectar.
Nice.
Nectar is a good one. We could use nectar.
Correct. All right. Well,
All right. So, YouTube, IG, to Legacy of the King, celebrating 1 year of mindset, success mindset, of proactivity, of dreaming for better. And here's to many more years of development, growth, wealth, healthy relationships, and better society.
Yes. And to include in the mix as well, to legacy and to intentional living.
And to intentional living.
Aye. Here.
Yeah. Cure for real. Feel that in my nose. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So let's get right into it.
Let's get right into it.
So apart from the celebrations, guys, we have an entire episode.
We actually have an episode to do. So let's not get too carried away with the celebration.
Correct. So today's episode is proactive mindset, proactive life, solutions for Caribbean issues. All right. And again, just to reiterate, we are on
all podcasting platforms. So we're talking about the Spotify, we're talking about Google Podcasts, we're talking about Apple Podcasts.
Mhm.
Obviously, we're on YouTube. Check us out on TikTok. Check us out on IG, because we're live right now on IG. So make sure and check us out.
Yeah.
Anywhere else?
Well, anywhere else, the link will be
anywhere else
in the description.
Yeah, the link will be in the description below.
Right. So yeah, let's go.
Yep.
All right. So back to the topic at hand.
Yeah. Proactive mindset, proactive life, solutions for Caribbean issues. We spoke about, well, we were discussing last week what we wanted to talk about on the first anniversary.
Right.
And most of the times, yes, we talk about serious things, and we might have wanted to do like something not to do with things that wrong.
Correct. Try to stay away from negativity.
Try to stay away from the negativity, but we're going to try to speak about what we're going to talk about in as positive a way as possible.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to try to give people tools to get out of life what they want out of life, and also what they need out of life.
Yes.
Because it's not always about what we want.
In essence, to have a better quality of life.
Yeah. So when we were discussing last week, what got us to the point of deciding on this topic was the clip that we posted last week relating to Trinidad and the lack of proactivity and always waiting for somebody to bail them up, always waiting for a savior,
A
always,
handout. Yeah.
we have this kind of I want to be pampered mindset. I shouldn't have to work for anything. We are a wealthy country. We have oil and gas. We don't need to work hard for anything. Money's supposed to just fall in our lap. And we realize that over the past how many years that is not happening.
Correct.
Money not falling in our lap. As a matter of fact, it's like they put the money in front of a fan, a
Yeah.
heavy duty fan, and it's just blowing away. And we're not getting to utilize it effectively to improve our lives and improve our communities and, in a wider case, the country. And because of that, we decided, okay, we complained last week about us not being proactive. But we just complaining. How about we try to offer some solution? And I think that's the positive spin on the whole proactivity thing.
Agreed. Because on top of that, in the country, at least from my perspective, I've heard multiple people talk about the same issue, right? Or sorry, varying issues, but we tend to hear just complaining, as you mentioned. No solutions, no proactivity, right? To say, well, okay, I'm gonna be the first one to, have an idea, make a change, have a plan, and see how best we could go forward.
Exactly.
It's just complaints, and
For what is actually going on. So we are here today to offer some solutions in, I would say, 3 categories that I think is most important for us as Trinidadians, Tobagonians, and Caribbean people. Because we're not, Trinidad and Tobago isn't on, this is going to sound really stupid, but Trinidad and Tobago isn't on an island by itself. But you know what I mean? But we experience things very similar to our Caribbean brothers and sisters throughout the West Indies. So yeah, so let's get into it. So Nick, you have the floor. Use the man. You handle the scene.
okay. So first of all, guys, not so sure about IG too much, but those of you who may be listening to us live on YouTube, we may have some technical issues sometimes, right? So hopefully, please let us know if you all can hear us or cannot at any given point, so we will know to repeat ourselves, right? Again, we cannot do, we're doing the best that we can with what we have right now, all right? So yeah, all right. So based on the topic, we like to give definitions. So the definition, according to Oxford, for proactive, I should say,
Yeah.
is creating or controlling a situation rather than just responding to it after it has already happened.
That's good because I didn't check for a definition. I was
Don't worry, I have it.
I blew past the whole definition thing and I just started to look for solutions. But
That's okay.
you see, 4 eyes are better than 2
Correct.
or 8. Excuse me, I have champagne.
Yeah, it's a tribe thing. Right. So yeah. So the 3 categories that we're gonna touch on this evening are proactivity as it relates to employees, that is both, the unemployed and the underemployed. That's one category. The second category is as it relates to entrepreneurs. those who are already entrepreneurs and those who are transitioning into becoming entrepreneurs.
Mhm.
And the last one that we always stress on is relationships,
Relationships.
proactivity in relationships. Right? So, from my perspective, because that's all I could talk from, right? Okay, sorry, Ashley. All right, so gonna repeat that again. So on the first category for the unemployed and the underemployed, the problem that I commonly hear, which is again the more common one across the board, is not having an income. Right? Simple as is. The problem for the underemployed persons is twofold. One is trying to get out of a dead end job, and the second is being in a job that you're not passionate about. So I'm going to tackle both of them together because of the interest of time and not to lose people's concentrations. So the first step that I have to tackle any problem is developing a skill
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
or a talent that may be already there. And so what that means is that, okay, growing up, you may be aware that you have a certain talent, for example, art,
Yeah.
right? You could draw, you could paint, that kind of thing.
Yeah. Before you continue, bro. Also, for the sake of time, if I have the same thing that he might have, or something similar that Nick may have, we will just discuss it, talk about it together, right? So I don't have to repeat the exact same thing that he has. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. And yeah, also, guys, sorry, but I'm reading my points off my phone. So if you see me looking down, that's the reason why. All right. So yeah, so developing a skill or a talent, and the example I gave was in terms of art. So you may be aware that growing up, you might be able to draw, you might be able to paint, but the skill or the talent is just there. It is up to the individual to actively dedicate and put in the time and effort to develop it. Because you may have instances where, okay, the person might say, well, I could draw, I could paint, so was in need to further pursue,
Mm-hmm.
right? But if it's something that you're serious about, and if you could see it developing or getting you out of the situation that you're currently in, why not go for it?
Mm-hmm.
Right? That's on one aspect. The other aspect is, again, keeping your goal in mind. So, especially if you're already employed, and the reason why I say especially if you're already employed is because when you start to get paid, when you get money in your hand, depending on the salary that is, if you've never worked before, then you may get hooked on the money and feel comfortable. Again, depending on where you're working, right? Depending on your job. But even in a situation like that, you may see or experience certain things in the workplace and that you're not happy about, and you realize, well, the money is no longer enough of a incentive to stay, basically. So that's when you'd want to, the other part, utilize your current situation that you're in to build what you truly desire. Somewhat like a training ground.
Right. And that is assuming that you want to transition into, let's say, freelancing.
Correct.
Right? But what about if the person doesn't necessarily want to get into freelancing, but they just want to firstly be employed, or if they're underemployed, to get employment that they are passionate about, that they could see themselves going to work every single day. They could interact with their boss openly. They don't feel a heaviness every time they have to talk to their boss or anything like that. So in that case, in a case like that, what is the mindset you think that somebody would need to move from unemployed or underemployed, where they're working in a job that they hate, or the salary doesn't match the time that they put in? What is the mindset to move from that point to a point of fulfillment, where you're employed, you're in a job that you love, how do you get from that point?
Okay. So,
And again, there's no right or wrong answer. This is just us discussing. This is just opinion. Okay?
conversation.
Conversation.
Yeah. So I think in order to move from one place to another in the direction that you spoke of, the person, would have to first know themselves, right? Be aware of themselves in terms of they have to be honest with themselves. They have to be realistic, of course. And then seek out ways of, or avenues, of finding that stream that will lead into that. By that, I mean finding the right people, networking, basically, right? And in the example that I gave for artists who may not want to freelance, if you go to art shows, etc., that person should be able to find a common ground, basically, where other people, art lovers, would be, or enthusiasts, would be around coming to check out other paintings, other forms of art, etc. And that would be one avenue that they'll be able to link with other people, have a conversation with them, and see how best they could actually fall in line, right? In that regard, and again, is all about experience. So that person should try to take the opportunity to follow that path, right? Now, it's not guaranteed that it will work out, obviously, but what else you have to lose?
Yeah, that's true. I also think one of the things that people have to look at is as someone who's unemployed or underemployed, Nick would have mentioned about talent and the skill that you already have.
Mm-hmm.
You have to figure out how that skill can be applied to a job that you want. So whether it is that you're an artist or you're a musician or you are a videographer, how does your talent or your skill, how can it be applied to the job that you want, that job that you think will fulfill you
Mm-hmm.
if you are unemployed or underemployed? Also, you have to focus on, you have to think about, okay, what other skill that I may need to complement the skill that I already have
Right.
to make myself more marketable.
Right.
Because we have to understand two things. And these are my points that I'm coming into as it relates to unemployment and underemployment.
Mm-hmm.
We need to know how employers see qualifications now in the 21st century. Qualifications now, as it relates to the, let's say, lower level corporate to middle level corporate, qualifications now are merely gatekeepers.
Mm-hmm.
Why I say they are merely gatekeepers? Because everyone has a degree, right? 30 years ago, you didn't need one to get a lower or middle level corporate job. All
Mm-hmm.
you needed was some cases O levels, other cases A levels for the max.
Right.
If you have a bachelor's degree or a first degree, you get thrusted into a supervisory position. But now the bachelor's degree is like the A levels or the O levels. A master's is like A levels. A PhD is like a first degree. So all it is now is those things allow mm, come on.
True.
Mm. So guys, give us 1 second.
Technical difficulties again. This time we can't edit it off. Right?
And we're back.
Yes.
Right. So what was I saying? Can't even remember. But
Yes.
essentially, what I was saying was that degrees are commonplace now.
Yes.
Everyone has one. And because everyone has one, you have to figure out what skills would make you more marketable in the workplace. So how do you go from unemployed to employed? How do you go from underemployed to employed in a job that the income or the salary is worth your time and there's fulfillment in your life in terms of the employment case. So
Yeah.
I would say, yes, you have a degree, fine, that's all well and good, perfect. But focus on acquiring skills now. Acquire skills outside of your degree that can aid you in being more marketable to employers.
Correct.
Because employers are looking for skills that could benefit their company, their organization.
Yeah.
They're not just looking, okay, you have an honors degree in management.
Mm-hmm.
You and 500 other people.
Yep.
What makes you different? The skills that you have. If you have skills that are applicable to the jobs that you're applying to, perfect. Also, that is not all.
Indeed.
That is not all. Here's a fun fact. I'm an introvert.
As am I.
Being introverted doesn't mean that you can't speak to people. That means that you lack social skill.
Right. Yeah, so there are different levels of it. But as you mentioned, it can.
Right. It's just
When I restart this thing, I don't know why it's
so,
not.
guys. When you know you're doing something good, things like this will happen. There will always be some mishap. There will always be some kind of always be some kind of grand scheme of things. It was necessary.
Yeah. Sorry about that, guys. Things beyond our control, but hope you guys can hear us now. Yeah, both audio and video decides to give trouble.
The gremlins in the wires.
Yes. And again, to reiterate, as Ron would have mentioned just now to our IG live audience, this wasn't happening for the last couple of weeks.
No, this wasn't happening for the last couple of weeks. Like this is just, hey man, Della join the chat. Hey Della. So this has been happen. This hasn't been happening for the past 2 weeks. All of a sudden, we having technical difficulties.
Well, I would say even longer than that. I mean,
Oh yeah, past few months we haven't been having any technical difficulties,
Correct.
and all of a sudden. But hey, when you're doing something good.
correct.
But
Right.
back to what we were saying, you have to learn to develop people's skills, even if if you're not an extrovert.
hmm
Introverts can be. You can be a people person as an introvert. Nothing is wrong with that. Here's the thing with introverts: we regain our energy by moving away,
Yes.
by being alone. That's how we regain our energy. Extroverts regain their energy by being around people. Introverts are different,
Yeah.
and that's what it is. That's what being an introvert means. You love being alone,
Yeah.
but that doesn't mean you don't have people skills,
Correct.
and that doesn't mean that you can't develop it. So one of the things I would say, if you want to develop people skills, there's an amazing book that everyone should read, and I will put the link in the description. How to Win Friends and Influence People. That is amazing at helping you develop your people skills because it teaches you how to give people their flowers.
Mm.
Developing people skills is not having the confidence to talk about yourself. Developing people skills is having the confidence to find out about someone else, to have a discussion about someone else, to make someone else feel good about themselves. And when they feel good about themselves, they love to be around you. They will help you get into rooms that you may not have gotten into in the past. That person interviewing you in that job that you want would be so intrigued to find out more about you that they will hire you just to find out about you. Even though you already, of course, you have the necessary skill to do the job effectively. But they will hire you just to get to know you. And that is the power of having people skills. Another book is The Law of Success by Napoleon Hill.
Mm.
Specifically lesson 9, which is appropriately titled Pleasing Personality. Like you can't get better than that. Lesson 9, pleasing personality. That's what
Yeah.
you want. That's what you want to have.
Yeah.
A pleasing personality,
That's any nail on the head.
of course.
Yeah.
So, guys, understand your qualifications, your degrees are not enough. You have to acquire the skills
Skills.
that employers are looking for. You have to acquire people skills. You have to learn to be good with people. Because when you go into a job, you are interacting with people on a
Correct.
daily basis, whether it be your co-workers or your supervisors, your managers, whoever it is, customers, the clients. You have to have a pleasing personality that the client will. Because remember, clients, they don't buy your product or your service.
Mm-hmm.
They buy you.
Yep.
And once you are a marketable person, you will always have a job. You will always be sought after. So remember that. Just going to school and getting a degree, yes, that's all well and good. Nobody said not to do that.
Mm-hmm.
But understand that because everyone has one, you have to figure out a way to stand out.
Correct.
It's not, well, I have a degree and I get no job, the world unfair. Yes, the world is unfair. We know that. There's no question about it. That is not a secret.
Yes. The cliche term is find a niche.
Yeah, you need to niche down. You need to figure out, okay, how can I use the degree that I have, plus either talent that I already have
Mm-hmm.
and an acquired skill
Right.
or an acquired skill to get the job I want, get employed. Or and when we move on to the next big point,
Mm-hmm.
become or be a better entrepreneur.
Correct. Correct.
Also, I think before we go into the entrepreneurship, I don't know if you have anything else with related to employment. But another thing, if you if in your country you can't get jobs, CARICOM guys, there's a reason why we have CARICOM.
And again, we talking to the regional people
We're talking
audience.
to everybody. If you're living in Trinidad and you can't get no jobs, apply for jobs in other countries. Why? Because CARICOM allows for free movement of skills and labor.
Yeah.
You can go on the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and find all of that information because I did. That's how I know.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
If you are getting trouble finding jobs in Trinidad or Jamaica or anywhere, move around the Caribbean.
Correct.
Move around the Caribbean and find the job that you want. So there are a number of solutions that we can utilize to be employed or better employed.
Yeah. And as you mentioned now, bro, like guys, those listening, those who whose ears this may fall on at some point, please don't limit yourselves. Just to reiterate or to follow up with Ron's point there, don't limit yourselves. As Ron said, if you can't find jobs in your country, be it Barbados, be it Jamaica, Trinidad, Guyana,
St.
etc.,
Kitts.
right? There's the rest of the Caribbean. There's even outside the Caribbean.
Yeah. But to make it
Once,
easy,
yeah,
CARICOM member states.
correct. Once an opportunity presents itself, take it. Sometimes opportunities come in the most hidden places,
Mm-hmm.
right? Disguised.
Mm-hmm. And that brings up another point.
Mm-hmm.
Don't be afraid of the unknown.
Yes,
Sometimes in the unknown is where your blessing lies.
correct. That's right.
So don't be afraid of the unknown. Yes, you grew up in St. Kitts and St. Kitts is all you know, and
Mm-hmm.
your parents there, and your friends there, and your aunt there, and all of that. Yeah, that's beautiful. But things difficult. Things might be difficult in your country. I don't know. But if it is, you have the option.
Correct. Correct.
And sometimes we just have to take a leap of faith.
Yeah.
You never know. You may fall or you may fly, but you wouldn't find out if you unless until you jump.
So, um, just to wrap up this point, you mentioned two of the points that I already had as well, which was marketing yourself properly, and the other one kind of closely ties in what we just spoke about as well. The fourth point that I had, and 4.1 in one case, is I would have touched on this before as well, to seek good company and advice. And that goes back to tribe, you know. So find people who would be genuinely willing to help build with you, right? And I'm gonna take this snippet from someone who we both know, who we spoke to, who may be watching this live as well. Talk to people who wouldn't take your ideas. Right?
That's a really good point.
Yes. And use it as their own and give you no credit or compensation. Right? So, in essence, find good guidance or counsel. And just sum it all up as well, the saying that says, if you're the smartest person in the room, then you're in the wrong room.
You need to find a new room.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also, I think to add to that point that you made there, to prevent that,
Mm-hmm.
as much as we find it, some of us find it tedious, I enjoy it, but as much as some of us find it tedious, learn to understand human nature. Understand how people think. Understand the triggers
Hmm.
that make people do what they do. And a perfect book for that, or two books actually, by the same author, The Laws of Human Nature and The 48 Laws of Power, both by Robert Greene.
48 Laws are one of my favorite books, right?
48 Laws of Power teach you how people use manipulation. And the laws of human nature teach you how people think,
Mm.
what motivates people to do the things that they do, both good and bad. So, again, we'll put those links in the description.
Yeah. By the end of this, well, you'll have a library.
Yes, that's the point. So we can move on to the other one.
Yes.
All right. So the next one is entrepreneurship. How can you be proactive as one, an entrepreneur, and two, people who are transitioning from being employed to being entrepreneurs?
You want me to start again?
Yeah.
All right. So, identifying the problems, again, through my experience talking to people who I know, the problem for existing entrepreneurs in particular, and again, guys, these problems that are given is just like one scenario kind of thing, again, because of the interest of time, but there are so many others. So again, don't criticize me or Ron because we're just touching on one or two, right? Um, so yeah, one of the problems for existing entrepreneurs is not being able to grow past a specific point, and sometimes it feels like you're being kept back, or in some cases, monopolized. Whereas you're maybe facing or experiencing being outbought and some form of absorption or amalgamation into another company. Right? The problem for transitioning entrepreneurs, that is again, as we mentioned, people who want to move from employee to entrepreneur, or underemployed or unemployed, is obtaining the right direction or knowledge in a specific field or niche. So the first point that I had deals with somewhat of a on a more personal level, dealing with self. So it starts with And I would say humility. Humility. Now, you're probably wondering why I say humility, especially if you're facing hardships from either somebody trying to outbuy you or somebody trying to control you in some way or another, right? But the reason why I say that is because there may also be people who maybe may want to assist you. And in order to see those people who are trying to assist you, you have to kind of have a little bit of humility. And again, it goes back to something we mentioned before in previous episodes, not painting everybody with the same brush. So you have to be humble and open to new ideas, basically. So adding to that, you always want to find ways of being able to re-innovate and redevelop, and again to stay relevant in the market. So that's one.
Right.
I don't know if you have anything to add to that point.
Yeah, I want to actually add to that because when you said that in transitioning, you have to take it from a personal point of view. And I want to elaborate on that because I think I need people who are moving from employees to entrepreneurs to understand that entrepreneurs require different mindset to employees.
Correct.
Nobody doing it, nobody going out there to get the money so that they could pay you a salary. You have to do it for your company. You have to bring in the income for your company.
It's on your own self.
It's on you.
Yeah, it's on you.
That's the first thing. Then to bring back to what Nick said, you have to be humble. You have to realize that everything that you do is no one else's fault but yours. Your success and your failures. So it can't be high, it can't be too high, and it can't be too low. You have to realize, listen, all of this is part of the process of
Correct.
becoming an entrepreneur. You're not going to see the numbers right away. Look at right now.
That's exactly what I thought.
Look at right now. In a first year of a podcast, unless you are an athlete moving into media, or you're an actor, or you're a singer that already has a following, unless you're that person, it's going to take you.
A Joe Rogan.
Or what?
A Joe Rogan.
A what?
A Joe Rogan.
Or you're Joe Rogan. You're not going to build a following of 5,000, 6,000, 10,000, a million people in a year. It's going to take time.
Correct.
But you have to be persistent, and you have to understand that nothing is wrong with you. You are in the teething phases of the journey. And someone else's chapter 9 is not your chapter 1.
Correct.
You on chapter 1, they're on chapter 9. You have to wait. You have to chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3, and so on until you get to wherever you need to get to. And
their journey is different to yours.
Exactly. Your takeoff may not be chapter 9. Your takeoff may be chapter 5. It may be chapter 12. You don't know. But you can't give up. You can't give up. So you have to understand that you need to develop your mind. You need to change your mindset if you're transitioning from employee to entrepreneur. You also have to understand that when you're starting off, and you have to be smart about this. If you're going sole proprietor, and what it is that the service that you are giving or the product that you're selling is of high risk, do not register as a sole proprietor, please.
Yeah, that's problem.
It may not be your fault, but you could put yourself in legal trouble.
Correct.
So do not register as a sole proprietor. Register as a limited liability.
LLC.
Right? So all of those different aspects is required for successful transition. So to aid with that, I have more books. So yeah, it's either you read it or you listen to it. So it's either audiobooks or actual books. But these things are necessary for you to transition effectively and successfully from an entrepreneur. From an employee to an entrepreneur.
So you see, guys, we're giving all your solutions, not just talking about the problems.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly. So, first book, cliche book. Well, two books actually. Same author, Rich Dad Poor Dad, and The Cash Flow Quadrant, both from Robert Kiyosaki.
Yep.
You know what Rich Dad Poor Dad? Your poor dad tells you a particular thing. Your rich dad will tell you something else. Don't buy liabilities, buy assets, so on and so forth. The Cash Flow Quadrant teaches you where you live in terms of money. So what are the four quadrants? Employee, self-employed, business owner, investor. You don't want to be on the employee and self-employed side. You want to be on the business owner and investor side. Don't think about investment yet. That's when you have things to lose. When you can afford to lose, then you could invest.
Yeah.
If you can't afford to lose, if all your savings is about $1 million, don't invest in nothing with $1 million, please. If you have $1 million to lose, fine. But if you don't, please don't do that. Focus on being a business owner, build a successful business, and then you could think about investing. Obviously, this is the Bible of personal development, Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. You have to learn how to shift your mind from, I'm not sure if I could get this, to, I'm going to get this. And there's nothing that's going to stop me from getting this. And I'm going to get it no matter what, I'm going to get it. That is what Think and Grow Rich teaches you. In a nutshell. Obviously, there's more detail when you read the book. I'm not going to tell you it. You have to read it for yourself.
You don't give too much already.
No, that is not. No, it have way more magic inside that book than what I left out. Okay?
There's just the advertisement for it.
That's just the advertisement. Right? Again, all of these links are going to be in the description. All right? Next one, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. Honestly, it will teach you a lot about yourself, and it will teach you a lot about your relationships, both professional and personal. 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey. And then The Richest Man in Babylon. How to save. That's basically it. The Richest Man in Babylon teaches you how to save. So if you want to transition effectively, those 5 books, I'll say them again: Rich Dad Poor Dad, Cash Flow Quadrant, Think and Grow Rich, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, and The Richest Man in Babylon. Those 5 are going to help you to transition effectively and successfully from employee to entrepreneur.
And they will also be in the description.
And all of them will be in the description below, in addition to the ones that I mentioned above.
Yeah, so you don't have to bust all your brain to try to write down what to replay it. Right? And that point ties in with my point as well about acquiring as much information as you can in a specific field.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there will come a point when you've gotten the general knowledge, then you have to start a niche down. So the books that you're going to read now is going to be specific to what you're becoming an entrepreneur of. So whether it's a service you're offering, let's say you want to start a creative studio for branding, logo design, marketing packages, whatever it is, then there are books for that. There's The Brand Gap by Martin Nehemiah. I could put that in too. I didn't have that on my list, but as it came to my mind, I mentioned it.
Yeah.
There are so many books about branding. If you want to get into e-commerce, there are books about e-commerce. There are books about logistics, whatever. So when you get the general knowledge, then there's time to get the knowledge in your niche.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Good stuff, guys. So
Yeah.
you have plenty reading to do.
You have plenty reading to do.
Again, plenty acquisition and information and knowledge.
Nothing worthwhile comes easy.
Correct.
Nothing worthwhile comes easy.
Or without sacrifice.
Or without sacrifice.
Yeah.
So we have the entrepreneurs still to do as well. But I have some points for that. The ones who are already entrepreneurs,
Mhm.
like you would have mentioned earlier, they may be stuck and they don't know how to move from a particular number.
Right.
And I think, and this is a lesson for me as well. When I wrote it, I was like, God, I'm buffing myself. It's not just about selling a product or service. You need to provide something unique. Perfect example. This is a perfect example. And sometimes it's piss me off because I just know how they are. But I'm going to talk about Apple right now. I'm going to talk about Apple. This is like a pissed off because I know how the Apple fans are. I have some Apple fans in my family and in my extended family and in my in-laws. That is pissed me off. I ain't even gonna lie. Right? But the reason why I bring up Apple is this. How many computer companies you know?
In general.
Yeah. But it was 7 or 8, right?
About that,
You
yeah.
have Dell, you have HP, you have Lenovo, you have
Toshiba,
Asus, you have
yeah.
Acer, you have
Yeah.
Toshiba, all that, Samsung and all.
Right.
What is everybody's dream computer?
Apple.
A MacBook Pro.
Yeah.
Why? Here's the difference. And here's why Apple is so unique. Again, providing something unique. Everybody's selling computers. Apple's selling computers too, you know. But here's the difference. Dell, Toshiba, everybody else.
Mm.
Our computer is the fastest computer on the market. We have so and so and so and so. There's so much and so much gigabytes on our memory, so much and so much gigabytes on our hard drive. We have the best SSD in blah.
Specs.
Apple. When we designed the new Apple MacBook, we focused on changing the status quo. Everybody, like, I want to change the status quo. Like, they're selling you dreams. Like it's song and bad.
Mm.
But that's exactly what they're selling. They're selling the dream of being a rebel, being a creative, changing the status quo. There's a particular status quo, and I'm going to change things because everyone has this ambition of changing the world. Dell and Toshiba ain't telling me I go and change the world with the computers. Apple telling me that though. Apple telling me that with the phones. They're telling me that with the iPads. And here's what: the phone, the iPad, and the computer syncing up seamlessly. So anything I'm working on my computer,
You get it everywhere.
I could get it on my iPad. I could get it on my iPhone.
Mhm.
How much of the others have their own ecosystem? They have AirDrop now. They don't even need Bluetooth to share things. They have AirDrop. I do want to AirDrop it here. Bling. So I say that to emphasize how important it is to do something unique. Okay, you want to be an artist. Perfect. What makes you different from the rest? Is it your style? Is it who you are as an artist? Is it your the funny thing about being an artist now is even your fashion sense, like the way you see the world.
Mhm.
All of that ties into you being an artist. If it is you are a fashion designer, there are thousands of fashion designers. What makes you different? What sets you apart from the average tailor on the street to on the level of let's say for the Caribbean people, Eclipse. What makes you go from the average tailor to Eclipse level? There has to be something different about you. It's not just okay, I'm a talented uh, fashion
Fashion
designer,
design.
or I'm a talented artist, or I'm a talented singer. There are many talented singers. I know a lot of them. But what makes you different to a Marshall level singer, right? If we're being honest, Marshall vocally is not the best singer, but he's the best artist. Why? Because he has acquired certain skills that enhances the things that he already has. So just being able to do one set of runs or having a wide vocal range, that doesn't make you successful. You have to be able to sell something, provide something different, something unique.
Correct. And again, please, Marshall fans, don't come for run.
I don't hate Marshall.
Just-
I like Marshall music. I just don't like blind following. That is all.
Mm.
Okay? So don't come for me, please. I like Marshall music. I have plenty Marshall music. Right? Another thing, and again, Nick would have mentioned this previously, they don't just buy your product or service. People don't just buy a product or service. They buy you. They buy what you stand for. What makes Nike different from Adidas?
Hmm.
They don't buy you. They buy what you stand for. I'm sure it costs Adidas and Nike the same amount to make their shoes. But what makes Nike sell more shoes than Adidas is what Nike stands for. Is Nike's ability to tell the right stories.
And boy, can they tell
Oh
stories.
yes, they can tell stories. You see them and Apple? That's why they have collaborations.
Hmm.
It makes sense.
You remember that story that Nike told about the night or waking up early in the morning in the rain
Yeah.
and it's
And
the street light.
we're here with you?
Yes.
What?
Yeah, like wow. Huh?
That is how you sell your product or service.
Hmm.
People have to see that you stand for something, one, and two, you care. If all you're trying to do is sell, you might sell by force and things down your throat, but you're not going to have retainers of your customer base.
Mhm.
It's going to be a revolving door. You have to constantly having a high marketing budget. So you have to figure out, okay, what is it that I stand for? What is my vision? What do I want to to give to the world with my product or service? Because I offer the same product or service as 10,000 others. So what makes mine different?
Yep.
So you have to focus, and that ties into being into building brand. So you have to focus as much time and resources in brand building as you focus in company building. And your brand is not what you say about you. Your brand is what people say about you. That is your brand.
Hmm. Yeah.
Okay, what is the name of that book? Oh my goodness. The book from the former marketing director at Nike.
Um.
Oh my goodness. I that is a beautiful book to show you how Nike built a lot of their campaigns. Emotion by Design
Yes.
by Greg Hoffman. Emotion by Design, Greg Hoffman.
It's not gonna answer for that.
That is an amazing. If you want to learn how to like how Nike did it, that is an amazing book. So yeah, so that's plenty of information. Guys, listen, I haven't given so much information in the entire year that we've been doing this. Like we haven't given this amount of information. But if people wanna get it going, those books and those nuggets that we gave them, hey, they have to take it on board.
Again, that's if they truly want solution
Mhm.
as opposed to just complaining.
Yeah, again, proactive mindset, proactive life. You take control of your life. At some point, life will be like, okay, they get it.
Open doors.
Open doors.
Yeah. So if you don't have any more points for that one,
We're
we
going
still
on
have
to
one more.
yeah, we're going on to the last one, and then we're going to wrap up.
Yeah. So easy peasy, because we've spoken about it so many times
Oh
before,
gosh, like a
right?
like a broken record.
But yet still, there's so much problems, so much hurt, so much pain, right? The problem is so many relationships, especially in our black community, and we have to mention black community
Mm-hmm.
because our people are the most broken.
Yeah,
The relationships failing,
family is
and
broken.
yes, so getting straight into it, I just want to say you have choices and you have consequences. Every choice has a consequence. Good choice has a consequence. Bad choice has a consequence. But I can tell you, the bad consequence or the consequence related to the bad choice is about 7 to 10 times worse. Talking from experience, and I'm sure Ron could also say the same.
Mm-hmm.
So you can apply these things when either one, you're in a relationship, or you're single and you're seeking a relationship.
I think it's better when they're single, because when people in and I've seen this, when there are a lot of people when they're in a relationship, when they get into an argument, they always feel they're right. The next person wrong. I right.
Yeah.
How you know that? You only seen it from your point of view. You only seen it from your perspective.
Hmm.
You don't know that. So when they're single now.
Yeah. And that leads, because this point is getting really emotional,
Mm-hmm,
right?
mm-hmm.
And I'm sure it's the same for
It
you.
is Riley up.
The first thing is there are a lot of sort of mentioned here this week because I've had experiences just this week. The first thing is there are a lot of delusional people out there. And it's not a simple fix. It's not on a low level. It's the highest level.
I would say this, it's a simple fix. It's a simple fix. The thing is, the willingness to fix it.
Right. That's why isn't that is what makes it not a simple fix at the same time. So it twofold, you know. But yeah. So to touch on that, as we keep on saying, as we started off with the toast, be intentional. Be intentional. Right? We have to be when you be intentional, everything else under that flows from it. Because when you're intentional, you would now be accountable for yourself genuinely. You'll begin to become aware of the things that you're doing. So your thoughts, your words, and by extension, therefore your actions. And everything we've mentioned before in the previous episode. So again, honesty with self and partner, right? Or intended partner for those who may be single. After honesty, communication is the next step. So you have to be able to communicate after you understand yourself. For example, as we mentioned before, somebody who looking to have fun.
I have a point. I have some points here. Go ahead. That's some. Because you see this section here. This section is my buffing section.
Right.
This is my buffing section right here. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, somebody who looking to have fun. Communicate with the person, right? Don't take the person for a ride, because if the person not on board, you're going to end up in problems. And it already have too much of that going on. You've seen the effects of that. I don't need to explain it. That's where the man bashing woman and the woman bashing man comes from.
Yeah, the genders at war.
Yeah. So if you're in it for having fun's sake, make sure the person is on the same page as you. As in, they're okay with it. Now, I'm not saying that all of this is okay, right? This is not, don't say next say all of this is okay, because at the end of the day, as again we've mentioned, and this takes priority, dating or relationship should always be for marriage.
That is that's one of my points. Right? That's one of my points.
Let me talk about it and reiterate it again.
So I'm not going to it. I'm not going to it. Right? Dating should never, I reiterate,
Yes.
or reiterate, never be for fun. Never. Capital NEVER. Exclamation point. Should never be for fun. Right? You don't, and another thing to add to that, you don't date just because he or she is attractive.
That's also one of my points.
Oh gosh, she have nice eyes
And hair
and nice hair
and nice shape,
and oh gosh, he wearing Burberry cologne
and he have abs,
and he's Ted Bundy Jr. Come on.
Yeah.
Or baby Lorena Bobbitt. You know about Lorena Bobbitt?
Remember it?
The woman who I can't remember if it was alleged that he was unfaithful, but in response to that, she decided to, while he was sleeping, take a knife and swishing.
Right. Yes. I remember now.
And for the fellas that are listening, when I say swishing, I mean
Yes.
like the family jewels. Go on. I think she threw it in the dustbin. I think she threw it in the trash. Yeah, I think she threw it in the trash. Yeah.
Wow.
So don't risk losing the family jewels over curly hair, please. Right? And please don't risk getting kidnapped over abs and blueberry color.
Mm-hmm.
So understand, dating should never be for fun. Dating is a precursor to serious relationship and marriage.
Yeah.
Right? Also, before we even get to the whole dating thing, I need everybody to understand that if you want to be in a loving relationship, before you even get there, you have to be able to learn to love yourself. In order to love yourself, you have to know yourself.
Yep.
Right? Know yourself. Go look in the mirror. See the person you are. Don't lie to yourself.
Mhm.
Don't be defensive. I am this currently, but I don't have to stay here. Yes, it will be scary, it will be hurtful, you will cry, but it's necessary.
Yeah.
When you get to know yourself, improve. Learn to love yourself, learn to love being alone.
Yep.
Right? When you're able to do that, you'll realize that you'll start to develop a high standard for yourself and the way you want to be treated. And in addition to that, when you realize that you have a higher standard in terms of how you want to be treated, then you will also have high standards for the way in which you treat people. Because you don't want to be treated poorly, so therefore you shouldn't treat people poorly. Right? Do unto others as you will have them do unto you.
Mhm. Yeah.
Another thing, especially in the Caribbean, because I know we like to horn, we like to cheat.
Mhm.
Everybody complaining about it, right? You all want to stop infidelity. You all want to stop the horning. Want to stop the cheating pandemic. Stop lying. Stop lying. Have some honor.
Mhm.
We don't want no honor no more. We need to be honorable again. Be good for your word. If you say you're going to do something, do it. If you're not interested in somebody for the long term, let them know.
Correct.
I'm not interested in that long term thing right now, and I just trying to enjoy being single. I just trying to be honest with it. Be honest with people.
Again, don't take them for a ride.
Don't take them for a ride. Stop lying. Have some honor. Men had honor long time. Women had honor long time. I don't know what's going on now. But everybody complaining and everybody want a horn first. We have music about it now.
So much music about it.
If you're that if things that bad, don't get into a relationship.
Correct, is it?
Don't let sex be a driving force of getting into relationships. Yes, sex is fun, sex nice, okay, fine. But you need to face your your problems.
One second, bro. You could just repeat that again. I think the audio froze. I'm not sure. Guys, if you just again, just let us know if you're hearing us, please. Sorry, we're in the last couple, the last stretch, but
Yeah, we're in the
we don't
final
know
stretch, we
how.
just want to make sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so you need to take responsibility for the things that you would have done. Okay, the girl get pregnant, bring her child into the world.
But she didn't get pregnant by herself.
She didn't. This is not an immaculate conception,
Yes.
right? Now, what I would like to also add, ladies, if you are 100% sure that it is that person that you say it is child, If the guy is unsure, don't feel bad if he asks for DNA test, because if you all weren't in a serious relationship and it was just a thing,
Mm-hmm.
if the person asks for it, you have to understand the situation that both of you were in. This wasn't nobody put a gun to your head. So if the person asks for that, don't feel like oh, you feel like that. No, it's not about that. He wants to make sure so he doesn't spend 18 years of his life paying for something that isn't his.
Yeah,
Because we there's so many stories about it now.
I was not gonna say that.
You're seeing 20-year-olds and coming to find out that the person that raised them wasn't their father.
You
The
remember that?
person who did wasn't even and not only that, they're going to jail for it.
Remember that guy who spent how long he spent in jail
I think 7 years or 8 years in jail for
for a child that
child
wasn't,
support
yeah, that wasn't
for a
his.
child that wasn't his. So if a guy asks for DNA test, he's just doing it to make sure that it's his. Right? If you know that that was the only person, then it shouldn't be a problem. It shouldn't be a problem. Especially if he's paying for it, like it shouldn't be a problem.
Yeah.
But to avoid that, understand the flings for 2023 and beyond, the flings had a cut. The flings had a cut. There are other ways to have fun.
Correct.
There are other ways to enjoy yourself. The flings had a cut. We had to get that out of our culture.
Have some discipline and self control.
Have some honor in
And
your
honor.
life.
Yeah.
Right? If you want to, if and this is in the my closer, right? You want to fix Trinidad and Tobago, you want to fix the rest of the Caribbean, you do that by building family.
Mm-hmm.
You don't do it by voting for some party or asking for better policing.
Correct.
Because more police cars and more policemen with guns and more surveillance and more thing and more promises by political parties not going to fix the country. You want to fix the country? You need to fix yourself. You start having families again.
Mm-hmm.
You just stop having these girls by the self-raising children. A father is necessary for stability. It's not perfect, but it's more likely that the children are going to come out more psychologically stable. They're going to be more successful. They're going to focus on becoming the highest version of themselves with a nuclear family. So, guys, focus on building families from here on out.
Yeah.
Don't worry about what the government going and do about crime and what the police going and do about crime. You start.
Correct. Because here's what, as I have mentioned before, the first society is the family, the home,
Exactly.
right? And then these same people, the same policemen, the same politicians, the same whatever, where they come from? Society. And society comes from family.
Exactly. So at the end of the day, the leaders that we put into office are a reflection of the population that we have. So when you see the immature bickering, because this is not just Trinidad, this is all over.
Yeah.
So when you see the immature bickering and so on and so forth, and the laugh and the kiki and the bacchanal, and that is a reflection of our society.
Correct.
So if you want to change society, we have to change first.
So
You have to change yourself first. It's only right.
yeah.
And I need to add this point too. For all of you who think children just worthless and we have a lost generation. African proverb. The child who is neglected by the village burns it down to feel its warmth.
Yes.
Children are the community's and the society's responsibility. It's not just the parent. And parents, you need to allow the right people, not the worthless people, the right people to influence your children.
You know, as you mentioned that, I've heard so many people, so many women in particular now in this day and age, who say they're not letting anybody else raise their children. So they're not putting them in no daycare, no by no relatives, because again, you don't know the background
Exactly.
of young people.
Yeah, because it is, and I understand why they say it.
Yeah,
Because it's coming from a place of fear. Why? Because people are not how they used to be.
correct.
So we have to, if we honestly want a better society, Trinidad and the Caribbean and further afield, we have to look at ourselves. All of those the little things. Like, I not feeling to go and take driving lessons and doing regs and all them things. I can just pay. All of those little things affect that. You think it's just, oh, I just go in and beat the system. No, those little things affect, and we could see it. We drivers, we could see it on the road when we know somebody into their regs. Just the way they drive, when you know somebody into their regs, somebody just pass a little, you know.
Yeah.
All of we have to realize that we're not in isolation. We are part of a bigger organism, and everything we do affects the bigger organism.
Yeah.
So you want a better country, you want a better Caribbean. You have to look at you first. You have to focus on building family, right? And the last point, you have to build a legacy plan. You have to formulate a legacy plan for you and your family. You need to know where you want to go. Like, you born to just
Exist.
vibes?
Yeah.
It's just vibes? No. Like we've been saying for the past, let's say, month, it had 200 million other sperm that had a well, 199 million, whatever.
Right.
Had a chance to be born, and as you made it, so that makes you unique. You here for a reason. You ain't just here by chance. You're here for a reason. So make the most of the life that you have. You don't know how long you'll be here for. So don't hold grudges. Don't hold people in mind. Focus on being the best version of yourself and try to make a positive impact on the planet. Don't just be.
To assist with that, as we mentioned in a previous episode, purpose. Find your purpose.
Find your purpose. We can't just be, and it's vibes. Like, I'm not saying to not have fun, but it have more to life than just fun.
Fun, yeah.
You have duty.
Responsibility.
You have responsibility. So,
and it all, as you mentioned, as you said first, it all ties back into legacy.
Yeah.
What we're leaving for the next generation.
Exactly.
Because after you die, you're not going to be here forever. So we're going on for the future.
And you always hear, as a matter of fact, you hear in the older generation talk about, oh, this is a generation of vipers and so on and so forth. Who raised them?
The second one.
Yeah, the second one. So, guys, bear with us a little bit.
Un momento, por favor. So in the meantime, I see, we have.
So we're back.
Yeah, some comments and stuff here.
Yeah. So
again, guys, we're wrapping up, right?
So this is So that was the.
So yeah. So to include and to touch on your point that you were making there, So relationships, there's some, just this is just me mentioning this. There's some people again that I've experienced that seem to think that they are either above or beneath other people, right? Which is part of the delusional mindset. Uh, so I just want, especially for our audience, our viewing audience, and those who may be sharing to other people, please remind and understand that no one is above or beneath anyone else. It's just a matter of difference.
We're just different,
Yeah.
right? And I know we'll do another episode about this. I'm just going to mention the word. I know a lot of girls in our generation now have a problem with the word submit,
Mm-hmm.
and I understand why I have a problem with the word submit. We will deal with that in another episode, but I assure you, the word submit is not what you think it is,
Yeah.
right?
Correct. And to tie in again with that last point on legacy, my final point is to reiterate again, to constantly reflect, introspect, work on improving yourself and your mindset. And because we're on the topic of relationship, as we mentioned, see about self first and then your partner. And in regards to your partner, those who are already in relationships, those who seek in relationships, as Ron mentioned, build with legacy in mind
Hmm. So,
and intentional, being
yep,
intentional. So let that be a guide going forward.
definitely. So that's the end of my points. If you all have
And mine.
questions, comments, if you are watching on IG and want to pop in on the live for a few minutes before we shut off, you're free to do so as well.
Yep.
And if not, we'll wrap up.
Yeah. I seen we have some comments here on YouTube
Oh yeah, I'm seeing them,
from
I'm seeing
Uche.
them as well.
Yeah.
Let me see.
So guys, we're just waiting a little bit for your comments, questions. But in the interim, please remember that we on all social media platforms again,
Mm-hmm.
right? Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and we have our social media presence for those of you viewing us, listening to us, checking out our content on IG. We're at Legacy of the King,
Underscore official.
right? And Ron has his personal
Bottle of Moet. No, sorry, not that. I apologize. What I was gonna say?
personal account, my personal
Oh
account,
yes.
Ron
Sorry.
Ron Legacy and Nick Legacy official. Again, the links are down in the description on YouTube below, together with your library listing provided by Ron.
Yes, I'll post that after we finish the Moet.
Yeah, you're leaving some for Ashley.
Don't worry, I'll even some.
Oh gosh.
All right, guys. So if no comments, we can wrap up here.
Yeah. Right. No questions, no comments. I'm not seeing anything.
Yeah. And no questions or comments on IG Live. Can you all hear? Oh, the IG Live off. That's probably why.
IG live off? No, it on.
Or
Mm.
can anyone on IG Live here? If you hear me, wave back. You guys hear?
Yeah, look. Hi on.
Wasn't there. All right.
All right, guys.
Which is the audio go.
Interesting.
Okay. All right. So I don't think we're seeing anybody else commenting. So
Right. Well, yeah. So that's it.
yep. So guys, thanks for joining us. Thank you so
Yes.
much.
Thanks for joining the celebration.
Yes, thanks for joining the celebration.
Wish you guys could have some.
So yeah, wish you guys could have some, but just celebrate virtually.
Yes. Toast and spirit.
Toast, yes, toast and spirit. Cheers. Right? Cheers. Cheers. Okay? So here's the many more years, even better content, better quality content,
Yes. Definitely.
better cameras and mics
And audio systems.
and audio systems.
Yeah.
We'll get there. Thanks for your support. Yes, the more years of legacy of the king.
Yeah. And we forgot. Thanks to both of us for putting in the work, for staying consistent
As consistent as we can.
As we can, yes. Given life happening.
Yeah.
Right? So yes. And again, we could not have done it without you guys,
Without your
our
support.
supporters as well. And yeah. Thanks for letting us know that we're making an impact. Even if it's one person.
Yep. Facts. Straight facts.
Is a reason to continue.
Yep.
Right. So thanks again, guys.
Thanks again. Take care.
Take care.
Don't worry, I'm not going to drink out of.
Don't mouth it.
Nah.
All right, guys.
All right, guys. Later.